All right, shalom, Most High in Christ, bless, happy Sabbath to everybody tuning in across the globe. All praises to the Most High in Christ. We made it to another Sabbath. All right, I hope everybody had a beautiful Day of Atonement. All right, if you really notice your surroundings, the Most High works things out perfectly. It's going into the tabernacles. All right, and if you folks really been paying attention, the moon should be starting to shine real bright, real bright. Okay, so just y'all hang tight. We are live. So y'all just bear with us, okay, tonight as we go into the topic. Okay, tonight's topic is really the lost people of the Bible. The lost people of the Bible. You know, it's funny because if you've been in the truth long enough, you do your research. You're supposed to really know what you're doing. That's what you're supposed to. You're supposed to know what you're doing. And what you have in our people is we've been taught to sit back and listen to the pastors spew off their rhetoric all day, every day. All right, every Sunday. And never go out and do research, fact check, or anything. Just don't do anything. All right. It's just a complete problem. So what we're going to do, all right, tonight is go into some history. But, of course, we're going into the Bible. All right. Now, let's dive right in. Let's go to Luke. Let's open up with the words of Christ. Let's go to Luke chapter 15. All right. We got some clips for y'all tonight. Luke chapter 15, and let's start at verse 11.
All right. Shalom, Most High in Christ, bless, happy Sabbath to all. The book of St. Luke, chapter 15, and verse 11.
Come on.
And he said, a certain man had two sons.
A certain man had two sons. Two sons. A certain man has two sons. Now, what you have to know, because what they're going to go, oh, this is the prodigal son. This is the parable of the prodigal son. But these two sons represents Judah and Israel, okay? A certain man had two sons. Before we move anywhere else, let's go back a little bit. Give me Jeremiah. Chapter 32 and verse 30. Let's start there. I'm going to go a little bit slow tonight. All right. For you folks that are watching, make sure that you have your King James, 1611 King James Bible. 1611 King James Bible. Make sure you're taking notes because they love to remove our videos consistently. Okay. Make sure you're taking notes. All right. Jeremiah 32 and verse 30.
Jeremiah chapter 32 and verse 30. For the children of Israel.
For the children of Israel. Come on, turn me up a bit. For the children of Israel, which is you so-called blacks, you so-called Hispanics, whose fathers are of Negroid and Indian descent, you are the biblical Israelites, the children of the slaves, the children that is under high-level oppression right now. You're those children, okay? You so-called blacks and Hispanics. Read.
For the children of Israel and the children of Judah
Come on.
have only done evil before me.
So they have only done evil before the Most High. Now, let me give y'all a little bit of backdate history because we got a lot of new people that watch. They're learning, but they're coming up to speed. What has happened is in when you look in the past in this book about what our people did, we were very rebellious, directly coming out of Egypt, directly. What God was doing was setting us up magically, wonderfully, whatever word you want to do, as a nation of people. And what we did was we constantly complained. We set up idols. We did not want to be a majestic nation. We wanted to follow the other nations. So as results of that, Even when you look at the wilderness, the Most High was sending the nations on us because we were rebellious. And it continually happens today. When we are out of order as a people, as a nation, the Most High uses the other nations to auto-adjust your mind, period. Read.
For the children of Israel and the children of Judah have only done evil before me.
Has only done evil. Evil just means you're not following thus saith the Lord. Come on.
From their youth.
From their youth, coming out of Egypt. Come on.
For the children of Israel have only provoked me to anger.
Come on.
With the work of their hands.
With the work of their hands. So what you don't understand about the works of your hands, even in church today, I don't care what denomination you in. I don't care what it is. Baptist, Pentecostal, Episcopalian, Jehovah's Witness,
right.
Whatever it is, Catholicism, whatever you want to be in, if you're not doing thus saith the Lord, you're doing evil with your hands. Meaning you're not putting your hands to do the works of the Lord. You're following something else other than God's words. Read.
Saith the Lord. Verse 31. For this city have been to me as a provocation.
Come on.
Of mine anger and of my fury from the day that they built it even into this day.
So that's talking about Jerusalem. Isn't Jerusalem still in chaos? You got to realize the words of God is true. Jerusalem in chaos right now. You can't even drive through certain places. I have an agent right now is working on getting me over to Jerusalem for December 9th. Right now, she can't even do it. All the people that they have over there, so much going on that at certain times they can't even schedule people because of dangers. They have threat levels. Can't do it. So you got to realize, even for your sake, to say that you want to even go back to Jerusalem, you have to apply, see how you can get over there, all kind of stuff. The city is underneath pure chaos. You have a lot of people doing thievery because it's an ancient city. So what people do is pick up a rock, put some Hebrew on it or something, throw a menorah on it, and go and try to sell it. Yeah, for money, and say, oh, this is an ancient artifact. Many people have been fooled and got filthy rich off of that city besides us. You're the people who are still using money with other people's faces on it. Let's just say that. Now, keep that in mind. Let's just keep going backwards. 1 Kings. So for you folks that are watching, you seen the class pic. Put it back up there real quick. Famously, everybody always hear Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I was going to spawn chaos by putting the Israelites up there. But so I know somebody's not going to understand. Abraham is a son of God. The Israelites are sons of God. So when you look at the Israelites, it's just a name that's put upon the children of Jacob because Jacob's name was changed to Israel, Prince of the Power, Israel. And then that doesn't have nothing to do with Egypt. The phonics of the Egyptian phonics is not known. So people that say that is just purely ignorant. They go, oh, that means Isis, Ra, and El. Come on, man. Okay. That's somebody would laugh at that. Or somebody who's really doing research would laugh. Okay. Because you have to really understand the principle behind phonics and languages. This is why you have the Bible was written in ancient Hebrew, and our people left that and went to Greek. It's more Greek that our people spoke more Greek than Hebrew. I'll challenge anybody on that. You go to Jerusalem, all the artifacts and everything they're pulling is more Greek writing on it than even Hebrew. So when you start to look at the gospel and you look at the manuscripts, even you look at the Apocrypha, the books that they call the hidden books, which really not hidden, is sitting there in the 1611, the original Bible. The other folks, the Protestants, decided they wanted to remove that. All right. You got to ask yourself a question. Why are they removing things? What's so important about that they was looking at that and Satan jumped on them and told them to take it out? Really didn't take it out. They formed other books. That's what happened. But this is all prophesied in the Bible. Believe that. 1 Kings 16. Start at verse 21. Let's go back into a little bit of history before we start diving into the real juicy parts. 1 Kings 16, 21.
Okay. 1 Kings chapter 16 and verse 21. Then were the people of Israel divided into two parts.
We're always being divided, especially when because of chaos, because we're not on one accord. You can tell even folks that come into the truth. You're supposed to come into the truth, but you really want to stay divided. That's why y'all folks ain't really experienced camp wars. Only a select few experienced that. All right. But at the end of the day, we supposed to be coming together, gathering together underneath Christ and the keeping of the commandments. Back here, still chaos, division happening. Come on.
Half of the people followed Tibni, the son of Ganath, to make him king, and half followed Omari.
Come on.
But the people that followed Omari prevailed against the people that followed Tibni, the son of Ganath. And Tibni died, and Omari reigned.
Come on.
In the 31st year, Asa, king of Judah, began Omari to reign over Israel.
Come on.
12 years. 6 years reigned he in Tirzah.
Come on.
And he bought the hill Samaria of Shemar for 2 talents of silver, and built on the hill, and called the name of the city which he built after the name of Shemar, owner of the hill Samaria.
Owner of the hill Samaria. So you start hearing these names in the Bible, and it goes over your head because you're not reading. What's happening is already is a division, and now you have a hill in Samaria. It's a problem. Keep all that in your mind. Let's jump over to the next chapter. Rerunning a bit. 17. Matter of fact, go to 2 Kings 17. 2 Kings 17. I'm just jump real quick. Verse 1.
2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 1.
Come on.
In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah,
Come on.
began Hosea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years.
Write that name down, Hosea. Write that name down. Hosea. Come on.
Verse 2. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord.
You hear that? He did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. Come on.
But not as the kings of Israel.
But not as the kings of Israel. Something's different happening here. Come on.
That were before him.
Come on.
Verse 3. Against him came up Salmanasar, king of Assyria.
Name sound familiar. Salmanasar, king of Assyria. Come on.
Hosea became his servant and gave him presents.
So a king, you're supposed to be a king, but you become his servant and then give him presents? What kind of presents is that? Yeah, he's now underneath tribute to him. He became a servant and gave him presents. Y'all start understanding policy and procedures. That has not gone away from the Bible. A lot of times you got to realize when you're dealing on a high level with nations, these nations have policies and procedures. We're just reading it over this ever so lightly. These are kings. That be the magnitude of you looking at Donald Trump deal with Ukraine. Think about that, and that's all over the news. Is that the smallest thing? No, those are people who are at high power. So you have to put your mind there. Understand this is high level. Come on.
Verse 4. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea.
Because you want to know something? This is what our people have been doing for so long. You cannot, with the Most High, play both sides of the fence. Either you're going to be all the way for the Most High and all the way sold out, or you're going to be off the grid. But what he's doing, he's playing conspiracy. He's trying to play both sides of the table right now with Egypt and Assyria. Because you got to remember, Egypt is a major player too. You have some major players up and down right there in that time period. Egypt, Assyria, the Babylonians, the Medes, the Persians. All of these people are major players right there. The Medes is major players. Read on.
For he had sent messengers to So king of Egypt, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison.
So you take a king and just bound him in prison. That show you don't have power right now, even over your own kingdom. At this time, read.
Verse 5. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years.
Where's the mighty men of Israel? Nowhere to be found. Come on.
Verse 6. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria.
So he took in the 9th year that he took Samaria. Come on.
Carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan.
By the river of Gozan, come on.
And in the cities of the Medes.
And in the cities of the Medes. The Medes are Japhites. That's Japheth's children. What has happened now is we have got the most of the 10 tribes have been seized into captivity and brung over to the off the coast of the Medes, the city of the Medes. I'm saving something. Read on.
Verse 7. For so it was that the children of Israel
Come on.
had sinned against the Lord their God.
See what happens when you break commandments? Now you're ceased into captivity. Just like today. You are ceased into captivity. You don't have your own land. You don't have your own language. Nothing. Where's your heritage? The furthest thing that's crazy to me is that when someone thinks that their heritage is after a colony in Africa. You think that your heritage is a colony in Africa? Those Western banks are colonized. So, I'm gonna show you something. Give me a title of the book. We've been doing research for a long time, and there's some stuff that we was planning on being in a documentary. We was holding off to try to kind of allow Israel to, us to present it to Israel in the highest level of this research. But imagine this stuff takes a lot of time. I call some people in Israel crumb snatchers. What they do is to come across research, to do documented research, it takes a lot of hours, years. It's a lot of time. Okay? And a lot of research. I'm going to show you something. It was a study done way back. Okay? This is in the 1800s. But it was studies done based upon the 1500s. Okay? So there's a book, Probable Origins of American Indians. But you've noticed they say the Caribs. Zoom in on that for them. I'm not going to read nothing yet on it. There's some shocking things. Especially in this book, they did a study on who you folks will be told is the Native American Indians. But they're calling them the Caribs. Keep that in mind. Let's read on. We're going to come back to it. Don't worry about it. We're going to come back to it. You should be really, your mind right now should be like, what did they, this is a study. This is a primary source study. Your mind, nobody's never brung that out. Your mind's going to be thinking, wait a minute. Why, what are they doing in this study that we need to know back then? What are they trying to find out? All right. Read on.
2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 7. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods.
That's a problem when you fear other gods. You're fearing those people, the nation. That's why the Bible says the nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods. These people come in with their ideologies and pour it upon us, and we believe them. Instead of believing, thus saith the Lord. Remember, the scriptures is prepared in the presence of your enemies. That's why when David wrote that, thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies, he's not talking about food. He's talking about the Bible. The table was prepared in the presence of your enemies. You got to realize this book went through all of our captivities. It's still here today. Read.
Verse 8. And walked in the statutes of the heathen.
Come on.
Whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel.
You walk like the heathens, the other nations. Okay? We walked in that ideology. That's a problem. But what you're seeing today, which they can never stop, is now that awakening is a mechanism. It was just laying dormant. Then the Most High just poured that spirit right back upon the earth. Just go ahead now search for your fathers. Now as the Bible already said, you're going to prepare yourself to search for your fathers. You're going to search for them. And then now you're seeking. And the Lord say, seek his face. You seek a face, you're seeking identity. Nobody going to come up to the police, not going to be like, okay, how do they look? Can you draw me a description of their back? No. You're going to say, how did their face look? Give me an identity. The Lord say, seek his face. Seek his identity. And every time you seek him, he's found of the children of the slaves, man. He's found to be the children of Israel. And, of course, they don't want that to be no more in remembrance. They'll never, you're going to pass through. Just keep watching. Y'all, all you got to do, if the Lord say the same, just watch all the way through till they get to Easter time. They're going to show all the events. They're going to show everything. I would willing to bet somebody their paycheck that they're not going to tell you Christ was an Israelite. I bet you anything they ain't going to tell you Moses is an Israelite. They're going to go, he's a Hebrew. He's a Judah. They're going to skirt all around the nation of people that he belonged to. There's a reason why. Go back to Luke. Go back to Luke. So now you're seeing this. They got brung. Matter of fact, pull up the map. Pull up a map. Yeah, pull that map up. Zoom in on it. Because they named something in there where they was where they was brung into. You see that red? Zoom in a little bit more for them. Right there. So to the left, you see where the river, the Sea of Galilee and everything. To the left, that's all that's Israel. But you see up there it says Syria. That was a very bad place for our people. Okay. Matter of fact, you still, what's not told to you, you still have our people over there. Yeah. Looking just like me or you. Yeah. Looking just like me or you. You still have these people over there. They'll never tell you about them. They'll never show you them. You should ask yourself a question. Why are they not showing us these people ceased into captivity? All on the walls. Before they destroyed them. All on the walls. Ceased into captivity. This is Israel playing instruments. All on the walls. Locks in their hair. This is drawing of us falling, being slain. That's a drawing of being slain. Yeah, they dead. Showing them dead. And as late as our people still over there right now, but as late as 636 AD, they was calling them Yarmouk people. It was all into Islam and everything over there. They had a battle of Yarmouk. All over there. Okay. So yeah, this is late history. But the point still goes right back to it, is that our people, you should be asking yourself a question. What are we doing over there? We're going to read it. Let's go back to Luke. Read that verse again.
Okay. St. Luke, chapter 15 and verse 11. And he said, a certain man had two sons.
Come on. Now you know those two sons is Judah and Israel. Come on.
And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me.
The younger of them, if you read it in the Old Testament, it's Israel or Ephraim. That's the younger. Judah would be the older. So the younger, which is Ephraim, or you can call him Israel, said, give him his portion. Okay. Come on.
And he divided into them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together, took his journey into a far country.
Wait a minute. Read it slow for him.
I'm going to read it again. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living.
So the younger one took his journey into a far country and wasted it with riotous living. Sound familiar? Go. Before you do that, let's go to Second Ezra 13. Yeah. Let's prove some points. Far country and wasted its substance. Where's this far country? That's the question. Where's this far country? Second
Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40.
This is what they don't want you to know. This is what they say is obsolete.
But guess who used it though? They about to celebrate this demon, Columbus. If you watch the movie 1492, he says it even in the movie Esdras. The books that they supposedly took out. Second Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king.
Whoa. Remember, you were supposed to write that name down. 10 tribes was taken out of the land in the time of Hosea the king. All right. Come on.
Whom Salmanassar.
There go that name again. Come on.
the king of Assyria,
Uh-huh.
led away captive, and he carried them over the waters.
He carried them over the waters into the land of where? We just read it. The cities of the Medes. Gozan. Go by the Gozan River. He carried them over that. Come on.
And so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves.
Stop. So they came into another land, the city of the Medes. The first you were in Assyria, you ceased into captivity there. They carry them over even further to the land of the Medes. Now, because they're wicked, if you go back to Kings, you folks go back and read that.
Yep.
You read that history. Because when you go through the history, what it's going to tell you is that, oh, wait a minute. The king of the Assyrians, they didn't even really want to deal with Israel. They didn't want to deal with us like that. It's the same way this man right now don't want to deal with the so-called Hispanic people. Once you are used to build up, now you just get pushed to the side. But they took a counsel amongst themselves. Come on.
But, verse 41, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
They're going to leave the multitude of the heathen. Remember we just read in Kings that they was living like the heathens. What was happening is they was following their ideologies, their gods. A group of the Israelites start to bethink themselves. Wait a minute. We got to lead a multitude of the heathens. We got to leave them alone. This is not everyone, because obviously you got our people still over in Syria right now.
Yep.
You got Israel scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. They took a counsel amongst themselves to leave the multitude of the heathens. Come on.
And go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
So now they're going to go to that far country where never mankind dwelt. Come on.
Verse 42. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
We know they didn't, even though the Most High is about to grant them access somewhere to keep the statutes. But we know the Most High already knew what they were going to do. This is already mapped out. Come on.
Verse 43. And they enter into Euphrates.
They did what?
And they enter into Euphrates.
And they entered into the Euphrates River. The Euphrates River, our time, is nothing compared to how the Euphrates River was back then. The Euphrates right now is drying up.
Prophecy.
Biblical prophecy. Come on.
By the narrow passages of the river.
Come on.
For the Most High then showed signs for them.
So now the Most High is the one that's guiding them. That's when we say he showed signs. He's guiding them. Come on. Through the river. Come on.
And hell stilled the flood.
And made sure the river was high enough. Come on.
Till they were passed over.
Come on.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
So to anybody that's really have any inkling of geography, time, distance, however you want to say it, you can put in Google Map right now, wherever you at, and put how long would it take for me to walk. You can do that from here. Richmond to New York walking. It ain't going to take you no year and a half. To get to this place will take them a year and a half. Come on.
It says here, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Asareth.
The same region is called Asareth. Asareth, this is the we're gonna save this for people who want to call in. See, if you want to get I'll give you. Just give him a little bit. Just give him a little bit.
Okay.
This is not. This name right here, Asherah, is really a Persian word. If you look at that word in Greek, it's really a Persian word. It means azar. It actually means fire. Place of fire. That's what it means. Place of fire. That's where they're going. Place of fire. Give me a clip. Caribbean islands. Should I just give it to Caribbean islands. Go to the other one. Yes. This is why that area, the Caribbean islands, y'all folks, realize something. It's also called the mini ring of fire. That's what it's called. Run it real quick. Just a little quick clip on it. That's the problem. People don't understand biblical prophecy. Pay attention.
The eastern Caribbean islands stretch like an emerald chain, linking North America to South America. Known for their natural beauty and warmth, both environmental and cultural, people often wonder how these island gems were formed. We now know that many eastern Caribbean islands were built from volcanic activity, and islands, for example Montserrat, Dominica, and St. Vincent, continue to have live volcanoes.
Pause.
Residents of
years back, Haiti had that huge earthquake. That's why all the people came out and said, "Wait a minute, this place is sitting. This is volcanic activity. It's like sitting. This is like the mini ring of fire. All these volcanoes lining up through here. It went right over everybody's head, but the Most High is sending them right there. Caribbeans. We're gonna prove some more stuff. Come on."
Volcanic islands always live with the risk of eruption. Formation of a volcanic Caribbean island. In order to live safely with this dangerous natural force, it is important to understand how a volcano works. The surface of the earth is a thin layer of solid rock.
Get this man off the screen, please. I just want to, y'all can, well, I'll put the links up so you can watch it, but that goes to show you right there. Every single time you go to really start to understand, the Most High is causing all of this. The point is, we know for 100% surety that islands have formed and is forming right now due to activity of what they call lava forming the lands. That whole area was formed like that, okay? So the Most High is taking them through all the way through this area, okay, from the Euphrates River all the way to the Caribbean islands. Now let's go to some tangible studies. Go back to that book. Show the title of it. Show the title of it. Yeah. So they did a study back in the 1800s from the study from what there was going on in the 1500s. Scroll over. Give me the other one. Keep going. Yeah, read that.
Shalom. Probable origin of the American Indians. Persons each, and Peter Martyr says there was one having as many as 80 rowers. If we consider the state of discipline necessary to manage such vessels and crews.
Go to the other, it's a page right before that. Go to the page right before that. It might be there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. No, finish reading where you was at. Finish reading it.
If If we consider the state of discipline necessary to manage such vessels and crews, and the provision necessary to be made for their maintenance, we must acknowledge that there were sufficient means at the command of those tribes to remove themselves bodily by sea in long voyages.
So, first of all, in this book, they're talking about the probable origins of the natives in the Caribbean islands. And they're like, wait a minute. They have ships, they have vessels that can carry up to 80 people regularly. So they have technology to move in a long time on the sea. So that wasn't ignorant when they came over here. They didn't have like just say, okay, they didn't have any ships. No, they had ships. Vessels that could carry 80 people on it. That has to be a big ship. Okay? Read on.
So that in the comparatively smooth waters of the tropics, they might have transported themselves from very long distances to the places in which they were found by Europeans of different nations. In this one respect, then, it appears to me that the various authors to whom I have referred are correct in supposing the Indians of America to be descendants of fugitives from very different parts of the ancient world.
You see that? He like, these are fugitives from the different parts of the ancient world. They trying to put it together. Switch off to the other page. Yep.
I should have changed it back.
Go ahead.
It says he might also have noticed their use of the tom-tom or African drum mentioned by Rochefort, formed from the hollow trunk of a tree and covered only at one end, like our kettle drums and other African musical instruments.
Come on.
Such as gourds filled with pebbles or small peas for rattles, and one made of gourds on which they placed a cord formed of the string of a reed, which they called pite, together with the inordinate love of dancing characteristic of Africans beyond the customary dances of the other Americans, impressed with the conviction of the Caribs being of African descent.
So you like they're thinking like they have to be some type of Africans. They're like the Negroes. That's what they're saying, that they're like this. Remember, this study right here is from 1500s. Okay, come on.
Impressed with the conviction of the Caribs being of African descent, Brian Edwards finally turned to their language and, as he says, by the help of a friend, collected 14 words or phrases to which they fancied they found their coincidence in Hebrew.
They said what?
In Hebrew.
So they look at their language. They're looking at their language. He said, wait a minute. These Africans, they've got to be from Africa, first of all. But this is 1500s. It's supposed to be no Africans over there. This is 1500s. It's supposed to be no Africans. This is supposed to be the natives. He like, wait a minute. Why they speak Hebrew? We finding that their language is Hebrew. You have a problem. Well, he knew in Columbus logbooks, you already know he made sure he brought people who can speak Hebrew and Arabic. He made sure he brought those two people because further north, once again in Syria, they speak Arabic. Coming down now, they like, okay, we got to make sure we get some Hebrew speaking people here. If we run into these folks, we're gonna have somebody to communicate. Run the next page. Yeah. Play it. You can see it.
On the whole, judging that the civilization to which these ruins in Yucatan and Central America owed their origin was a distinct one from that of the Mexicans and Peruvians, whose semi-civilization again was equally distinct from the state of society of the Indians.
So what's going on, folks, for you folks that might be a little bit unclear, what they're really showing is that everybody that was in America was not like those that was in the Caribbean islands. It's some distinctions being made. Hey, these folks are different. And there's another book, study. These are studies. It's not nobody just writing a book up. These are studies that they understood the Arawaks and everyone else was fighting to keep themselves separate from the other people who they still titled savages or Indians. Okay, that word Indian is a byword. It's clumping everybody together, even though everybody shouldn't be together. Columbus, newsflash: Columbus lied. He did not discover nothing. It was already people over here. It was already a bunch of people over here, including the Israelites. All right, come on.
Whose semi-civilization again was equally distinct from the state of society of the Indians to the north and south of their respective empires.
Come on.
It seems to me still equally certain that the various tribes found on the American continent had all arrived there many centuries after the other continents had been peopled.
You hear that? Showing you it's different arrival times. Come on.
And only when those other continents had become fully peopled, the next question, then for consideration of the subject I have undertaken, is to ascertain whence those various tribes of American Indians had proceeded.
Come on.
Before more fully entering on this inquiry, fearing I might be thought by some guilty of an omission, if I were not to refer to an opinion held by a great number of writers.
So back then, there's a great number of writers that's doing the same research as he's doing. He said he's saying we're looking at this all together. Read.
That the Indians were descendants of what they call the lost tribes of Israel.
Read it again for him. This is their studies. These folks are back then. This is the 1500s. He's like, wait a minute. Even like them, these are the descendants of the lost tribes. There's some more stuff why they thinking this.
And look at the appearance that they said they look like.
They're connecting them, saying, oh, they look like Africans.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Come on.
I feel compelled to notice it also. The number of writers who have maintained this opinion or who have allowed it as probable is so great as to be really astonishing.
It's the number of writers that said, wait a minute, these got to be the Israelites. It's too many things that done linked up. He's like, it's more than just probable. It's astonishing. Come on.
If they have any readers in the present day relying on their lucubrations as worthy of an answer, I will, in deference to them, go so far as to be observed first that the 10 tribes, as they are called, were never lost at all.
Come on.
And next, that if they were lost, as alleged, there cannot be the slightest recognizable analogy shown between the Jews and the Indians.
You hear that? He's saying it can't be lost because if they was, you wouldn't even be able to tell between the Jews and the Indians. The word Indian means savage. So he's showing you that this is way too many. It's way too many things linking this up. So they're still doing research. Come on.
In respect of either language, religious rites, political institutions, or physical characteristics, the absurdity is almost as great as that of other suggestion made on the subject.
Go to the next page.
That the one of these tribes is described by Peter Martyr in terms expressive of their having been Negroes, and if Negroes, they must be supposed to have crossed over from Africa.
That's what he's like. Well, they supposedly, if it's Negroes, they must have crossed over from Africa. Come on.
Whether they had any affinity to the general body of the nation or people known as the Caribs does not appear, but independently of them, as they dwelt on the mainland, there was found a widely diffused tribe of a dark color and peculiar ferocity. Throughout the islands designated Caribs or cannibals, these names were given them by the other Indians, the word Carib.
So the cannibal in the people who they called Indians that was doing cannibalism, they were already separated from the ones they were calling Caribs. Because when you do your research, if you go into this, all these different researchers that was doing their due diligence on this, the Caribs are always linked with the Hebrew, practicing sacrifices and all kind of stuff. They was always linked. They was not linked to cannibalism. So the Arawakians was fighting against those who was linked to doing the cannibalism. Keep that in mind. Come on.
As Peter Martyr informs us, in the language of all these countries, signifying stronger than the rest, and was never uttered by any of the other Islanders without dread, this people seem to have been then but newly arrived in those islands.
Come on.
Some of which, as the Spaniards were informed, they had lately depopulated. Peter Martyr considered their original country to have been what he and the Spaniards called Carabana, situate on the east of the Bay of Yoruba on the mainland. They were, however, evidently too intractable a race to submit to any intercourse with the Spaniards.
So they, once again, they separated. They wasn't dealing with the Spaniards. They separated. It's like, we do not fool with them. Sound familiar? That's that Deuteronomy 7 and 3. Separated from them. Yeah. Just cutting them completely off. Come on.
Whereby any satisfactory information might have been obtained, and though the name Carib might thus have been given them extraneously, yet as they seem to have taken it as their own, it might possibly have been also their proper name.
That's just like what folks have done now. Yeah, you done took the N word, as they say it, or you done took African American or Afro American. Every time you get a title, you just adopt to it, and everybody falls right in line. Just like they fell in line adopting to this same thing. Now, what you don't realize, there's some things that happen. Give me another clip. Go to the other one. Yeah, you can read it. You can read that.
Let us not, however, undervalue the means of transport possessed even by very barbarous people over those seas which they had to traverse in the more benignant climates of our globe. The accounts of our voyages abound with notices of the vast numbers of canoes with which they were surrounded on reaching newly discovered shores. Mr. Squire records a statement of one of the first settlers in New Hampshire, that the tribe of the Pinnacooks, at the time of their destruction by the Mocas or Mohawks, had 300 birch canoes in Little Bay, and that they had seen as many there at that time. These 300 canoes, we may certainly calculate, could have carried off 1,000 persons.
So he's like, with their witnesses and all these connected canoes, could have carried over 1,000 people. Come on.
If the owners had chosen to fly instead of staying to encounter their enemies to their extermination, and thus they might have found refuge in some of the West Indian islands.
Come on.
But some of the canoes are represented to have been of really astonishing dimensions. Without referring to the fleets of vessels, some of 400 tons burden.
That some of the ships they found was 400 tons. Come on, man. So this destroys. They found this. This destroys a person saying that Israel could not have traveled on ships. This destroys that. This destroys a person going, yeah, give me a break. You think Israel traveled from the Euphrates to America? Yeah, they traveled to the Caribbeans. Come on.
Mentioned by the Portuguese in the seas of Asia, with the knowledge of the mariners' compass.
So he's saying that this is mentioned by the Portuguese in the seas of Asia. He's like that. You can see that they know how to sail. Come on.
Ferdinand Columbus and Diaz del Castello both state there were found some on their first visiting the West Indian Islands, capable of holding 40 or 45.
When Columbus came over in different Spaniards, when they came, they said, wait a minute, they got ships. Go to another page. We're just showing y'all a couple pages.
It also debunks that they were primitive.
Exactly. They show you Indian people half dressed naked with spears in their hands, running around and all kind of stuff. It's the same way they show African people with bones in their lips and all kind of stuff. That wasn't our people. When you go back and start doing your due diligence and historical records, you will find out our people dressed with jewels, fine garments, not like what you see. That wasn't them. So they're trying to figure out what's going on. This is what they're doing. They're doing their due diligence. Come on, another page. I'm only giving them a couple pages. Yeah.
After this civilized intercourse with the New World, and before the time of Columbus, there were probably many cases of African tribes or fugitives finding their way to America. As Asiatics had done on the other coasts, when Columbus first arrived at the islands, he found them generally inhabited by a timid people who seemed to have been of the same nation as those inhabiting Yucatan, from the fact of their all speaking a language dialectically different, but intelligible to one another. This fact we learned from Peter Martyr, the most intelligent and fullest of the contemporary historians.
This man was, y'all can look him up, but this man was like really trying to do his diligent search on who they were because it was so strange. How do you come to all the way, which is the New World, and you got people speaking Hebrew? Or how do you come to the New World and you see people that look like they're African? It's strange. So they're trying to say, okay, let's study and see what's going on here. But all their studies keep running in. Oh, these are the real Israelites. These are the lost tribes. 1500s. That's not for history back. Come on.
Though he never visited America himself, yet he sought out most sedulously all the information possible from the various adventurers who returned thence, to be repeated to the Pope and other princes of Italy.
Stop. So he never went, but he talked to everybody who was there so that he can give the everything to the Pope. Why is the Pope so concerned with who's over here? Why is he so concerned? We know they got the manuscripts at that time. Yeah, they got the manuscripts. So don't think that these folks ain't doing a diligent search. They're doing their search. We're the only people who don't do search. We like to watch basketball games, football games. Other folks is going, let me just do some research on some things. While we have our kids sitting around, go kick a ball or go outside and do something. Play cartwheels, jump, do gymnastics. You proud of that instead of building up their mind. See, that's the difference. The difference now is these little holy children is being brung up. Now their minds is more, oh, what's that? You can hear it you can see how they're thinking, and you can hear it in their speech, and you can see it. It's in their minds. Wait a minute, no. That don't. Well, the Bible says. Okay, now you thinking. Now you starting to think. Read on.
For whom he seems to have been an agent in Spain. For whom he seems to have been an agent in Spain. His letters, accordingly, are among the most minute and trustworthy records of the times, written in a way such important events deserve to be communicated.
So he has some of the highest letters of the time. This is who they're referencing. Come on.
And as he died in 1526.
So obviously this shows you that he died in 1526. So obviously this shows you that he was doing all his research and everything from the late 1400s all the way on up. Come on. That's very old primary source. Come on.
Having shortly before returned to his native Italy, we have from him an authentic narrative of what was observed by the first conquerors, as if written by themselves.
You hear that? So this is like primary source, a record from the people who went over there. Come on.
From him, and also from the life of Columbus by his son, translated in Churchill's collection of voyages, we learn that the discoverers fell in with several tribes of savages of a darker color.
You see that? We learned that the discoveries fell in with several tribes of savages. The word savage translates to Indian. Okay, savages of a darker color. They talking about the islands. Come on.
Than the general body of Indians.
Than the general body of Indians. The general body would be everybody that they group together. Then you take them out and go, oh, well, these folks right here are different. They living by a different code. It's different ethics. They speak Hebrew. Let's go back to the Bible. We're just giving you a little bit. Go back to Luke. Those folks got over here. It's supposed to be a whole new land where never mankind dwelt, which of course, that's the islands. That island was newly sprung up. Them islands came up from the sea. Okay, but the point is, when they got to over here, what was they doing? Moon worshiping, worshiping the wind,
Worshiping animals,
Mm-hmm.
the rain dancing.
Yep, rain dance was big on them. They would dance for rain, but when you go, once again, you can go right back into the history and realize that's what the heathens did.
Yep.
So instead of learning and saying, okay, we're going to leave the multitude of the heathens and come and do what we're supposed to do, nah, they wasted with riotous living.
Mm-hmm.
Let's read with the words of Christ. Come on.
Okay. The book of St. Luke, chapter 15 and verse 13. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living.
With riotous living. Hold that. Go to that other book. African and Discovery of America, whatnot. Go right there. Yep, read that from the top. Riotous living. Watch this.
Africa and the Discovery of America. Journeyed to Florida and Georgia in search of that wonderful fountain. Fontanita, who was captured by Florida Indians in 1551 and lived among them for 17 years, has given us a graphic story of this utopian search.
They was trying to search for the fountain of what they call a fountain of youth. It goes into another topic, but in Israel, when you hear about the pool that the angel would trouble the waters, would heal anybody that was in the water at the time that the angel touched the water, they're searching for that. Trying to figure it out amongst the Israelites. These folks are Israelites. Make no mistake about it. And he's living amongst it, trying to search out all these what they call a fountain of youth. Come on. They make movies about this stuff.
Of this utopian search to which all the Iasquas of Florida, that is of North America, were addicted.
Come on.
It was not, however, the misunderstanding of the Christian mystery of baptism.
You see that? That's why they thinking that, oh, is it the water that you get baptized in? Because like I made the comment before, we're the only people who don't know our history and know how great it is that the Most High would do such things for us. How you have somebody that's on their deathbed, you put them in a pool of water, the Most High can have an angel come down, touch the water, they healed. Somebody blind, Christ put spit on his hand, put it in their eyes, they can see again. So they trying to find this stuff out. Come on.
That was the chief cause of this southward migration.
Come on.
The eastern shore of Florida and Georgia saw many wrecks of ships which left Mexico and other countries along the Gulf of Mexico. And the Florida Indians became enormously enriched with gold and copper trinkets intended for the Europeans.
They don't have that now. Come on.
It is here that the Indians of Canada, who had come in contact with Britain fishermen ever since 1506, and later with French traders under Cartier.
How you have all this movement, but Columbus supposedly landed, what is it, 1492? Right. How you have all this movement like that? That goes to show you they're telling you a lie. Yeah, how you have all this movement in a short span of 8 years? What you know move like that? It was surely wasn't Barack Obama, and it surely ain't Trump.
And what's really sad is they teach this nonsense in the schools and have our children believing that nonsense, telling them a lie.
But that's why I saw on the news the people were saying tear down the statue of Columbus because it's a lie. See, everything's starting to happen right before your eyes. You just got to pay attention. What do you mean take that down? It's a lie. It's, well, we got to take it down. It's a lie. Come on. Look at our people, though, righteous living. Keep that in mind. Come on.
Later, with French traders under Cartier, could barter their furs for the much coveted trinkets during the absence of French traders from their shores. Besides the River Jordan,
myth, come on,
had sent a stream of Arawak or Carib Indians.
You hear what they're using the same words. When you hear that, these are really Israelites. Come on.
From Cuba into Florida. And these brought with them the newly acquired vice of smoking.
What?
Of smoking.
That's what our people love to smoke. Smoke weed, smoking cigarettes, vaping. They vaping now. That's another thing. Black and Miles. That's another one. Swisher Sweets. People just, everything. They put fruity flavors on it. You just out there smoking Swishers. Women up there with cigars in their mouth. All kind of stuff. Well, they're showing you this. This is riotous living. You don't supposed to do that. If you let's just look at it. Let's just look at it. Let's remove the veils from our eyes and let's just look at it. On the packs of these things, it said it cause cancer. But somebody don't realize is that, yes, it does cause cancer. The Most High is the one who can put it on you. Because what he'll do is he'll let your grandmother smoke. She's smoking 70 years like a chimney.
The roll-up kind.
Yeah, nothing never happening to her.
Doing snuff.
Nothing never happening to you. People looking at that. My grandmother's. I remember we was on camp. Remember?
Yep.
I was talking to you, see you smoking. I say, hey, man, they on a cart. Look on your pack right there. He was packing it. I said, look on the pack, man. Surgeon General. Warning. Causes cancer. It didn't even use the word may. It said causes cancer. This man was like, well, my grandmother smoked for 70 years. Cancer on you. I can't even catch cancer. That's his mind state. You think that. The Most High is the one that causes cancer. He's the one that's doing it. But because his mind was so, he didn't realize we just basically accelerated your doom, because once you hear the truth that you so-called blacks and Hispanics whose fathers of Negroid and Indian descent are the biblical Israelites, your clock is ticking now. You have a shadow following you. Believe that. Whether they believe, where people can go say they believe it or not, we've watched it. We've been in this long enough that we can tell you for 100% surety your clock starts. It just starts ticking, and you have to do that which is right, or the Most High just watching. It's just like when Balaam, remember the donkey. You ain't think he just going to do mischief. You ain't think the Most High had somebody watching him. Had an angel sitting there watching him the whole way. The animal saw it. The animal saw it. He said, I'm moving nowhere. You don't see this? You don't see what's in front of us? Smash his leg against the wall. He had a loving animal. Had that been like a pit bull or something like that, he probably would have turned on him. Yeah. Read it. Keep reading. What they smoking now? Come on. Go back to the picture on them.
Oh yeah, I got it. Newly acquired vice of smoking, which according to Aviado, who was already well established in 1535.
You hear the time frame? 1535. Well established. How fast is this moving? Because supposedly the New World was 1492. Come on.
White men had constantly been
Read
making
that again.
white men.
Who?
White men.
Who?
White men.
Oh, the so-called white man, who you may also call the devil, done came in and now did what?
Had constantly been making encroachments into Florida.
Just constantly. Come on.
Ponce de Leon.
Oh, goodness. That's another. Ask those people. They showed you the movie. Mel Gibson made it, Apocalypto. Showed them when they seen that, it's like, okay, you over with. That east wind is coming. Come on.
A Leon, Cabeza de Vaca, De Soto have left themselves or through other circumstantial accounts of their predatory expeditions. But there was also a constant stream of traders and adventurers who reached the shores of Florida unobtrusively, and who brought the spices and wares that the Hurons of the north told Cartier about, and who have left no account of their successful ventures in order not to attract attention.
These folks have gotten rich off of trade and your vices. Oh, you love sugar? We got you. Oh, you love alcohol? We got you. Oh, you love smoking? We got you. You go all up and down this place. They got tobacco farms and everything. Philip Morris and everything.
Yeah. And guess what else is coming? Cannabis. They're definitely doing it. They're doing it. It's becoming a global impact. Everybody's investing in it. Guess who they targeting? Geographically. Yes, the blacks and Hispanics.
Yep. We have a bunch of people just clear head, but the Bible tell you to be sober minded.
Yep.
You have a bunch of people walking around here talking about they medicated. Yeah, you medicated, all right. You high. How could you? How you gonna perform? Then there's be another vice. Kill them off. Go to the other page. Oh, finish it. Yeah, finish it.
These traders were all addicted to smoking.
Come on, man. You can't even make this stuff up. This is not probably. This giving you firsthand source. They all addicted to smoking. Come on.
As we are informed by Hawkins in 1564.
In 1564. Come on.
Hence, the Hurons, or at least one tribe of them, carried back home not only the habit of smoking.
They carried back home not only the habit of smoking. Come on. But also the method. Go to the other page. Mm-hmm.
And let me scroll it in for them.
Scrolling in for them, just on the top. That's good.
The method of raising tobacco.
But so they just didn't say here's smoking. They showed them how to grow tobacco. Man, come on.
which became to them as to the traders in Florida a medium of exchange.
Come on.
Wherever the white man traded.
Who?
Wherever the white man traded.
You mean the so-called white man, the devil? Okay, go ahead.
He left the tobacco and the vice after him.
See that? Wherever he went, he just spreaded it out. Okay, here, you want to smoke, my friend? Boom, smoke. Now they hooked on smoking.
And you can see it's doing it today globally because you got people all over the world smoking that no one doesn't even smoke.
We'll post this up in the link. Let's get back to the scripts real quick. Yeah, it's just crazy. And now they know, they showed you that secondhand smoke. Now you can get the Most High hitting you for that. So you might not be the one. You might be like, oh, you know what? That's our people mind state. You know, it's not me. To each his own, buddy. You know, she smokes. I don't mind. But you just keep inhaling that.
Yeah, that happened to a brother one time that I talked to a brother not too long ago. He doesn't even smoke, but based on the fact that his girlfriend smoked, he caught cancer. And he ain't even with her anymore. That would make it so bad. He told me, he gave me the stories that, man, I mean, he was going to get treatments. You know, luckily he caught it in time, but the secondhand smoke got him, basically.
We'll put that link up. All right, come on.
St. Luke, chapter 15 and verse 13. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living.
Come on.
And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want.
So the mighty famine, he began to be in want. So now, we read something in their studies, what they were saying. Because of the great amount of trade and everything that was being left over, those Caribs, or Indians as they call it, we know they're the Israelites, was getting great possessions, gold and everything. Where is that now? They only need a famine. Build a wall out of steel that you can see through. I don't know how that's possible. Trump suggested it. Ask Puerto Rico right now about their endeavors. With America. They mad. All right. Ask the real. I don't know if anybody ever had a chance to really sit down with those natives who've been given reservations. See, if you have a conversation, we got some of them. Have a conversation.
They living on below poverty level. Below poverty level.
If they just in hopes of trying to put a casino up.
Yep.
Every one of them does not have that. All right. That's the ones that have that. A lot of them have filed for that Indian Blood Act to try to say that they have somebody in their family that's a native. Yep. $5 Indians. It's crazy though. But this is the time we're living in. But the Lord is shining light on something. Watch. Come on.
Verse 14. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. Verse 15. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine.
So when he joined, they forced Christianity on the natives over here. They forced it on us, who they would call Africans. When we got here, they forced Christianity on you, and they baptized you. And if you didn't partake in Christianity, you was killed. It wasn't no. You know what? They not wanting to be baptized because they believe in something else. You know, just let them live in peace. Nope. It was get killed. It was either be in Christianity or you die. Point blank. Come on.
Verse 16. And he would fain have filled his belly with the husk that the swine did eat.
So not only that, we're a holy people. The Lord gave us a holy diet. But instead, our people eat all kind of other things. Pork mainly. The main dish for our people is pork.
Yep.
And they will scream to the high heaven. Soon you tell any one of our people, hey, you don't supposed to be eating that. What do you mean? Christ cleansed this for me. Give me the scripture where Christ said it was okay for you to eat swine, because you witnessed that the Lord cast the spirits into swine.
Yep.
Why would he do that? He's showing you something. Well, okay, I'm gonna cast unclean spirit into an unclean animal. Simple as that. All right. But the mind, this is what you have to realize with how the Lord elevated. It's not just what you're putting in your mouth. It's your willingness to want to break the commandments that directly defiles you. You hate following, thus saith the Lord. Come on.
Verse 17. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare?
Wait a minute. When he came to himself, what's the other word for that? Bethink.
Bethink, yep.
Bethink. Start to remember who you are. Bethink yourself. All right? Like it says in 1 Kings 8. You have to bethink yourself. Remember who you are. Remember, the Lord said you're the holy people. You have a holy conduct. This is why we're killing each other. This is why we're so quick to watch someone on TV just your brother get killed, but just show the highest level of compassion for that person, but yet will not show compassion to their own people. Where is that same level of compassion when they're killing our folks in the streets? Where's that at? Nowhere. But soon as a white woman's about to go to jail now, they might hit her shaking now. Oh, please, let me give her a hug, and I wish she don't even go to jail.
And even if a juror, one of the jurors, say, I just didn't think we could give her 20 years.
The guard in the courtroom stroking her, fixing her ponytail.
Yes. Was this Candid TV or something? Something made up? Was this Saturday Night Live or something?
I was like, man, this got to be a skit.
There's got to be something.
But when you realize we say it all day, every day, everybody's playing their parts.
Yep.
You cannot. You're gonna play your part. Either you're gonna play the part of the righteous, or you're gonna play a part of the wicked. God is in control of all things. You're not getting out of the parts you're gonna play. Either everybody's gonna play what they supposed to play. We're playing our parts. Everybody's got to play their parts. This thing gonna come to a full finality. This is coming to a high climax, and you're not going to escape what's coming to the earth. You're not. If any portion of what we're reading is, if you could just say, okay, one thing they said is correct. If you're in your mind, you folks out there watching, if you say, okay, they said, I don't agree with nothing they said, but I only agree with one thing that they said, you're doomed.
You're in trouble.
You're in trouble. If you're saying you just agree with one thing we're saying, you're screwed. That's why you have so many people trying to stop their ears like the Bible says.
This is why this book right here is the best book that ever was written, because this book is steady moving. It's not just an ancient book anymore, people. What's happening is we still live in these prophecies. I don't think y'all understand that this book right here is steady moving. No other book, no other author can sit there and say, I have a book that's telling you your future, and it's coming to pass. This book right here is basically dealing with Christ. Of course, the Israelites.
Mm-hmm. Read on.
Verse 17. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare? And I perish with hunger.
Come on.
I will arise and go to my father, and I will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee.
Here's repentance. So what you're seeing across the globe is the Israelites now, brothers and sisters calling from everywhere. Now listen up, because what happens is somebody sees the roll what they call the chart.
Yep.
They call it a chart. They don't really realize that's parakeeting. This is an ensign. You don't roll 12 tribes.
Well, did they have a chart back then with the with the historians?
So now think about this. You folks, Israel is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. The primary place where our people are at is the Americas, North, Central, and South America. So when what happens is a lot of people don't understand that these places that we're at and we're scattered to is scattered because of the people that have put us in and ceased us into captivity, like the English. The English took a lot of people to America, and the English have colonies all over Africa, all right, Europe, and everywhere else. Same with Britain. Didn't you just learn in 1996 was the last time Britain had control of Hong Kong? Hong Kong was not China. It was really belonging to Britain.
What do they call the West Indies? The British West Indies. Don't they call it the British West? Most of our people over there speak, with a British accent. So you think about it. So they call it the British West Indies. They still govern the Bahamas and all that.
We're scattered in so many spots. Go to Colossians 3. Colossians 3. Colossians chapter 3.
All right.
Verse 10.
Colossians chapter 3 and verse 10. And have put on the new man.
So as you start to repent, because we're reading like, okay, now the tribes that came over, which was righteous living, they start to bethink themselves. They have to repent, and they now have to put on the new man. That means you come out of what they were calling you. Yep. Don't you find it strange somebody named you Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Africans, Americans?
Your oppressor then named you like he names anything else, and you just accept it.
Dominicans,
Right.
Haitians, Jamaicans, Bohemians. Come on, you got to give me a break. It's right before your face, but you a dummy. Let's just say what it really is. Yeah. All these things are right before your face, but you've been given these names.
Yep.
But now you got to put on a new man.
Mm-hmm.
Now you coming after knowledge. Read.
Colossians chapter 3 and verse 10. And have put on the new man, which is renewed in the knowledge after the image of him that created him.
Not after the image of what man told you was. You renewed in a knowledge. The knowledge is in this book. The knowledge is right here in Christ. Read.
Verse 11. Where there is neither Greek nor Jew.
So Paul have to break that down because he's using it as a blanket. Mm-hmm. You can't just be like, oh, I'm a Jew or I'm a Greek. Why he ain't saying Moab there? Ishmael. He's using the terms Greek and Jew synonymous with Gentiles. Jew and Gentiles, all synonymous. Next time somebody asks you folks out there, if somebody tell you they're a Gentile, just you only have one question from you. Which Gentile are you? Mm-hmm. Because Gentiles have names. They're going to still be lost. Come on.
Circumcision nor uncircumcision.
There's no difference between somebody who know that they're Israelite and just finding out that they're Israelite. Can't be no different. Come on.
Barbarian.
You can't be a barbarian, somebody who don't know the language of how to speak Greek, because if you couldn't speak Greek in that world that they were in, you were considered a barbarian, a savage, an Indian. Read.
Scythian.
Scythian is where they took our people in Assyria. They were known as Scythians. Those people that you saw that we put up, they will be known as Scythians. They'll be known in that region as Scythians. Okay? Those people right there. But he's telling you there's neither Greek nor Jew, circumcision or uncircumcision, barbarian or Scythian. Come on.
Bond nor free.
It don't make no difference if you are ceased into captivity or believe that you free. Come on.
But Christ is all in all.
You hear that? You're not going to get around this. But Christ is all in all the Israelites. Come on.
Verse 12. Put on therefore.
As a result of that, put on, come on.
Therefore as the elect.
What? Put on therefore as the elect of the Most High, as the elect of God. Read.
Holy.
What?
Holy.
Come on.
And beloved.
Holy and beloved. Come on.
Bowels of mercy.
Come on.
Kindness. Humbleness of mind.
Humbleness of mind. Humble to the scripts. Come on.
Meekness.
Strength under control. Come on.
Long suffering.
Patience with your brethren. Read.
Forbearing one another.
Come on.
And forgiving one another.
It's the same thing we were saying. We just come out of atonement. You're supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to have that highest level of love and respect for your brethren. Somebody might make a mistake, but you're going to have that highest level of respect. Now, let me say this. You are not lost or confused if you hear the truth. I don't care who you are. Once you hear the truth, you're not lost. You're not confused. You're not lost sheep. You know the truth. You are expected to operate. That's why when the Lord comes back, he's handing out rewards. Some people are going to get blessed with crowns. Some people are going to get the crown of damnation. Damn. Some people are going to wake to righteousness. Some going to wake to shame and contempt. Everlasting contempt. You're done. Because you heard the truth and you are not operating as you're supposed to be operating, man. This is a nation building. You're supposed to love your nation, build the nation, build it. Not sit back. You know what? I'm tired today. I'm going to just watch the game, chill. I got time. Yeah, you better ask some people who are gone right now. Read.
If any man have a quarrel against any,
come on,
even as Christ forgave you,
come on,
so also do ye.
So that's the level, and we'll touch some of it going into the tabernacles. But a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize when you look at the Day of Atonement, it's on what day? 10th day. And then you immediately count 5 days and you get tabernacles for the wilderness. What is the similitude of that? Passover. You pick the lamb on the 10th day, count 5 days.
15th day.
The 15th day, now you're in Passover. It's the same similitude. You better make sure you have the lamb, man.
It's pattern.
You better make just like you went into the fast. You fasting in Christ. You making sure, because Christ is the atonement. Yep. So you make sure you have that, and you can now purge yourself. Make sure you operating in the right spirit. But as you can see, it's a lot of things that's happened in history to give our people an illusion. There's an old video. Show that clip real quick. Puerto Rico. For all you Puerto Ricans, man, that's calling yourself Puerto Ricans, you need to really bethink yourself. I don't care if you're going to want to get fancy and say Boricua. I don't care what you want to say. You better make sure you bethink yourself. They went in and attacked that place hardcore. It was sailing ships. We can't even bring out all the history. That's the sad thing about it. It just has to be done in time. Because what we're showing you is years upon years of research. It took time. You getting it in an hour and 20 minutes, which took 10, 11 years to study. You just sitting back as a crackerjack, just some crumb snatcher. You have no idea the level of things that's out there that's pointing all of this. is right there. The Most High accelerated it here. Now, some of the folks, you might look at that and try to snapshot it or whatever. I said it again. No, this is not Google research. This is not Google. Come on, man. Watch this. I'm only gonna play a little clip. I'll put the links up. The real Caribbean, 1942.
The Caribbean is an
Pause it for a second. Y'all don't realize, but you hear those bells and those drums right there. When we read out of that primary source, that's been there for a very long time. They have been making those type of instruments. When they got there, they was like, wait a minute, these people, they speak in Hebrew. They're able to play a drum, and they have unique sounds. As you start to read and look at their research, just a couple. Lord's will, we get this documentary done, we can put up everything. You know, it's like probably be a couple series on this, okay? Because it's a lot. It's mind-boggling. But you should hear the sounds and feel it, because we're the holy people. You're spiritual. Just listen. Pay attention to this. Come on.
American Sea, washing the coasts of both continents. It is separated from the Atlantic by a crescent of island ramparts, a natural shield against hostile forces without. This is the Caribbean as the tourist sees it. Palm-bordered, gleaming beaches lining an azure and silver sea. Comfortable steamers travel here, floating palaces that call it port after port in an endless panorama of ever-changing beauty.
Pause it.
But to see...
So what we read up in the little, their documentary, their research, they're showing what we read. The commerce, the trade that's consistently going on. This is 1942. This is hundreds of years after what they documented. These folks is dead and gone. This is hundreds of years afterwards. This is 1942. And they're showing steamboats coming into these places. Tourists can go there. Okay, come on. See what else they're going to show.
See the real Caribbean, we have to turn back the pages of the past to the 16th century when mighty Spain ruled these lands and left behind many reminders of its culture in the architecture that dominates many parts of this area.
So-called white man.
Beginning in 1655, the British extended their rule over a large part of this island empire.
The British.
The Bahamas, Jamaica, the Leeward Islands and Windward Islands, and Trinidad are the more important British colonies.
Pause it. So if you, it's for another topic, but when you start to study the Arawaks, their history and everything else, they're going to find out they fought against other outsiders, even other Indians that they were calling Indians with them. But we know why, because they were the Israelites and they separated themselves. Just like you read, they have no intercourse with no Spaniards and none of that. They separated themselves, even though you have the Spaniards mixing with them. That's why you have, even in the Dominican right now, that documentary that they show you where it's a shame that some of the Dominicans believe that they're white. Yep. And they fight against Haiti like none other, the Haitian people, all right? And they're all the same people. But that goes to show you the level of separation and everything that's happened to our people. So the solution to the problem, folks, is this. Because we're trying everything else, but you have to return back to your nation and build with your people in righteousness, back in these laws. Build according to the laws, you have no problems. If you do not build according to Christ in the keeping of the commandments, we kill each other, we live riotously. The women is out here stripping, or if they're not stripping, they doing some other things. I'm not going to get on it because they've been giving me a lot of emails saying that I'm getting on ladies a lot, but at the end of the day, look at all the chaos that's happening. Play on.
These lands have been a backyard battleground for 4 centuries of European wars.
Oh,
Here,
stop.
Admiral Nelson.
4 centuries of European wars. What's a century? So, yeah. Yeah. You heard what he said? That's 1900s. So they're telling on themselves. Come on.
Fought. And here the hats of the harbor police remain unchanged from the days that Nelson's sailors took over. But these representatives of British law and order have much darker skins than had Nelson's sailors. Less than 2% of the population is white. The mass of the people are descendants of Negro slaves, hauled in from Africa to work the sugar plantations.
Stop.
When
You see the lie? This is where the lie, they are trying to explain the darkness of these folks. They're explaining it away with they have to be Africans. But we just read earlier that when he came in, they're dark. They got pictures of this stuff all up in museums and everything with pictures of the natives coming in. Copper tone. Now, Israel is mixed and mingled themselves. You are who your father is. You had Israel mixing and everything else. And, of course, everybody is not a black Israelite. That's why you don't see the terminology come up, well, black Hebrew Israelite. It makes no sense. But the point still shows you the roots underneath. If we had time, we would hit that. But I'll put that link up. Let's go back to the scripts. I'll put this link up. But that's a good clip that y'all need to watch because they tell a lot of things in there. As you start looking at the people and how they're conducting themselves, there's a lot of things happening. Let's go back to Luke. Oh, matter of fact, go to Jeremiah real quick. I want to prove another thing real quick because they keep saying Africans and all this other. Remember 50 and 33. Yeah, they keep going African, and then we're speaking of native people of the land, and they're mixed and everything else. All right, so you got to realize something. Jeremiah 50:33.
Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 33.
Come on.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel.
Remember those 2 sons, the children of Israel. Come on.
And the children of Judah.
And the children of Judah. Those 2 kingdoms. Read.
Were oppressed together.
Were oppressed together. This is showing you we ain't separated. We are now oppressed together. That's why we mentioned in the bulk of the Israelites are in the Americas. Come on.
And all that took them captives.
And all that took them captives. I don't care if you in the Arab man's land. You are held captive. I don't care if they're taking them slaves right now. I don't care if you're in Africa. You held captive. If you are scattered abroad, whoever's the people that are oppressing you, that's where that majority of that tribe is from. Okay. Read.
Held them fast.
Had them what?
Held them fast.
Come on.
They refused to let them go.
Now they got to ask yourself a question: Are they willingly trying to let you go back and go back to your heritage? Nope. Folks ain't letting you go back to no Jerusalem. You for sure ain't getting from the Nile to the Euphrates. They want these bands to be broke. Let's go back.
St. Luke chapter 15 and verse 18. I will arise and go to my father and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee.
Come on.
And am no more worthy to be called thy son.
So this also, and it's for another topic, it also goes into that mixing. That's also what we would call mixing or leaving off your heritage. It's like, I'm no longer worthy to be a son. Come on.
Make me as one of the hired servants.
Make me as one of the hired servants. Make me as one of the hired servants. Put in the comments, what is making them as a hired servant? We ain't saying nothing on that. What does that mean? Come on.
Verse 20. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him.
But yet, when he was a great way off, this is now a great way off. Now, I ain't talking about distance. And now repenting, coming back in Christ, he's a great way off, but still the Most High sees all things. Come on.
And had compassion.
And had what?
And had compassion.
Come on.
And ran and fell on his neck and kissed him.
Come on.
And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe, and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet.
Boy, that means something. Come on.
And bring hither
Come
the
on.
fatted calf, and kill it, and let us eat and be merry.
Come on.
For this my son was dead,
Because his son was dead. Come on.
and is alive again.
But now alive again. Meaning he was in the congregation of the dead, but now he's alive again. Keeping commandments again. Come to his senses. Read.
He was lost.
He was what?
He was lost.
He was a lost sheep. Read.
And is found.
But now it's found. Come on.
And they begin to be merry.
And they begin to be merry. You're going to be very happy. Like, okay, it's the Israelites coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Come on.
Verse 25. Now his elder son was in the field.
Who's the elder son? Was in the field. What's the field? The world, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Who they would call Africans. Scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. He's in the world. The bulk of the Israelites are in America, but that eldest is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth as well, heavily. You go into any civilization, okay, if it's India, Iraq, Syria, Africa, Europe, Americas, all over the place. How come people look like you over there? They're held captive. How come we don't have Mike to go get them? How come we can't say, you know what? Forget that. Give us all our people back out of all these countries. How come we ain't doing that? We too busy wanting to block, wanting to gangbang.
Yep.
Want to bang on each other.
On something that you never own.
Read.
And as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing.
So the elder son, he hear music and dancing. He know what's going on. Come on.
And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said unto him, Thy brother is come, and thy father have killed the fatted calf, because he had received him safe and sound.
Come on.
And he was angry.
And he was what?
And he was angry.
Wait a minute. That the elder son was angry. Come on.
And would not go in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him.
This is that bitter rivalry that people have. When you start hearing and you come into this, you'll know. They go, oh, well, this the natives can't be the Israelites.
Yep.
Natives can't be the Israelites. Then you got the natives going, they can't be the Israelites. We're the Israelites. That's the vexation. That's the vexation. That's the envying that you read up in Isaiah 11. The Lord said you shouldn't do that. That show you that the people who are doing that don't have the spirit on them, man. Just leave them alone.
Yep.
Read.
Verse 29. And he answering said to his father, Lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgress I at any time thy commandment.
Come on.
And yet thou never gavest me a kid, that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this thy son was come, which have devoured thy living with harlots, thou wast killed for him the fatted calf. And he said unto him, Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. It was meet
It was right. Come on.
that we should make merry and be glad. For this thy brother was dead
Because your brother was dead. He can be destroyed. Read.
and is alive again, and was lost and is found.
And was lost, but now is found. The Most High allowed the earth to just shine and just show everything how he put it. It's not like how man can't see this. So you just doing your little basic mediocre research. You don't realize all this is biblical prophecy. Ezekiel 17. Ezekiel 17 and verse 1.
Shock some people too. Ezekiel chapter 17 and verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man,
The word of the Lord came, said, Son of man. Read.
put forth a riddle.
Do what?
Put forth a riddle.
Put forth a riddle. Okay, come on.
And speak a parable unto the house of Israel.
Until the house of Israel, specifically those tribes that went into a far country. Hold that. Go back to Ezra, 2nd Ezra 13. Verse 46. Second Ezra 13, verse 46.
Second Ezra chapter 13 and verse 46.
So these tribes went to that far country. We know now it's really spiritually for those who can see it's the Caribbeans. All right. Most High had them get there. Read.
Then dwelt they there until the latter time.
They're going to dwell there to the latter times. Come on.
And now when they shall begin to come,
Now, when they should begin to come. This is the time now. Come on.
the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again,
Come on.
that they may go through. And therefore sawest thou the multitude of peace.
So the streams are going to come again. Now the difference is the mind has changed. Okay? The Most High going to bring the multitude back in peace. Go back to Ezekiel.
Ezekiel chapter 17 and verse 3. And say, Thus saith the Lord God,
So it's a riddle, and he said to tell them, Thus saith the Lord God. Come on.
a great eagle,
What?
a great eagle
Come on.
with great wings,
Uh-huh.
long-winged, full of feathers, which had diverse colors, came into Lebanon and took the highest branch of the cedar.
Unbelievable. And it's a riddle. Lebanon, the northern kingdom, Assyria. That eagle comes in, takes that branch. Remember, the tree is broken off. They take it. It's tooken. Come on.
He cropped off the top of his young twigs.
Come on.
And carried it into a land of traffic.
Come on.
He set it in a city of merchants.
Come on.
He took also of the seed of the land and planted it in a fruitful field. He placed it by great waters and set it as a willow tree.
A willow tree is sad. Mixing the seed. Now it's sad. Come on.
And it grew and became a spreading vine of low stature.
Of low statures. Not like it was intended to be. Come on.
Whose branches turned toward him, and the roots thereof were under him.
So his roots are how he really supposed to be, how the nation looks and how the nation's characteristics are, now buried under him. He has a different look. Come on.
So it became a vine, and brought forth branches, and shot forth sprigs.
It had children. Come on.
There was also another great eagle,
But now there's another eagle. Now it's another eagle. Come on.
with great wings
Uh-huh.
and many feathers.
Come on.
And behold, this vine did bend her roots toward him,
Come on.
and shot forth her branches toward him, that he might wander, that he might water it by the furrows of her plantation.
So now just giving you all these riddles right there. Come on.
It it was planted in a good soil by great waters, that it might bring forth branches, and that it might bear fruit.
That it might, because they want, remember that you can keep the laws and do righteousness. If we could just get to this far country, leave the heathens. Come on.
That it might be a goodly vine.
Come on.
Say thou, thus saith the Lord God.
Say, thus saith the Lord God, what?
Shall it prosper?
And shall that prosper? Come on.
Shall he not pull up the roots thereof, and cut off the fruit thereof,
Come on.
that it wither? It shall wither, that it wither. It shall wither, and all the leaves of her spring,
The leaves of the children. Come on.
even without great power, or many people to pluck it up by the roots thereof. Yea, behold, being planted, shall it prosper? Shall it not utterly wither? When the east wind touch it, it shall wither in furrows where it grew.
The east wind is when the so-called white man came over to this new place and laid a lot of destruction. You talking about destruction, smallpox, over 77 million of what we know of our people on this side was destroyed. 77 million. 100 million just in the Middle Passage alone, but 77 prior. It's just mind-boggling numbers. The Lord's showing you that east wind was coming. Come on.
Verse 11, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, say now to the rebellious house.
Say now to who?
The rebellious house.
Say now to the rebellious house. Come on.
Know ye not what these things mean?
Know ye not what these things mean? You don't know this riddle? You have a problem, and it's bigger than you can ever imagine. Because you're not understanding that you're the biblical Israelites that's supposed to be repenting in the faith of Christ. You don't understand that. Coming back to these words. And the Lord is showing you all these different pitfalls that's happening around us. But yet, it's just status quo for everybody. All right? From all the things that have been spread, diseases, hatred, malice, envy, everything. It can all be wiped out if you return back to Christ.
That's right.
Is that it on that one? Oh, read on.
Tell them, behold, the king of Babylon is come to Jerusalem, and have taken the king thereof,
Come on.
and the princes thereof,
Come on.
and led them with him to Babylon.
So the Bible's a twofold book. A person that don't have no spiritual means in their mind, they just gonna think that just mean for Babylon. They will have no understanding that the king of Babylon is America
Babylon
as
the
well.
Great.
Babylon the Great. They'll have no understanding. They go, well, I just see that's already happened or whatever. That's why the Lord's saying you don't understand. You just have no understanding. The book of Acts, chapter 5 and verse 29.
The book of Acts, chapter 5, verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men.
This is going to have to probably be a part 3, 4, 5. I mean, it's so much else that we are not bringing out. We're leaving it right there. But you folks continue to tune in, make sure you continue to watch, because at the end of the day, this is a lot of things to learn, but the most important thing that you can ever learn is to return back to your nation in spirit and in truth and follow Christ in the keeping of the commandments. The end. All right? Which the world hates. All right?
We want to give the Most High Christ all the praise and glory for having us to be able to expound this word. And also, brothers and sisters, as we do know, the Feast of the Tabernacles officially starts Sunday night at even.
Sunday night is the night that it starts. This will be a little celebration. Once again, you all praises to the Most High for even allowing us to come back and really celebrate the days, His days, like it's supposed to be done.
Right.
And in spirit and in truth, be very festive. You going out, it's not, let me say this, it's not a camping trip. It's not a camping trip.
Right.
What it is for you to reflect. Lord's will, we'll touch it a little bit tomorrow. It is for you to reflect on how disobedient our people was in the wilderness and how you supposed to not complain when you out there. I guarantee you somebody going to get hit by a mosquito or something. It's like, I can't stand this. Failed.
Or get cold and say, oh, man, I'm shivering. I got goosebumps.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Huh? What'd you say? Oh, don't worry. I got you. I got you.
Make sure y'all do that, which is righteous. All right, we got the Cash App. Y'all send up your arms or whatever you can to help forward the movement. It's greatly needed. A lot of our people are hearing this, and they're desiring for us to really get over there and do the different things. And also we got some things, high level things happening for to get up into Egypt and stuff like that. So all that stuff will be coming out. But make sure you folks, send up the arms or whatever the case may be.
Greatly.
With that, we say shalom. Happy Sabbath, y'all.
Shalom.